Everyone has heard of the Minotaur, the creature at the center of the deadly labyrinth. Euripides described it in these terms: a mingled form and hybrid birth of monstrous shape, two different natures, man and bull, were joined in him. But was the Minotaur actually just a Minoan general called Taurus, loyally serving King Minos, hence he was Minos Taurus, or Minotaur? He was in charge of the inescapable prison where the enemies of Minos were sent. Poets liken this to a labyrinth with no exits. Once you were in, you were never coming out. You were fodder for General Taurus, the Minotaur. Why was General Taurus in conflict with Athens? Why did Athens have to offer a tribute of victims to King Minos? The Greek historian Plutarch wrote, "Not long afterwards there came from Crete for the third time the collectors of the tribute." Now as to this tribute, most writers agree that because Androgeos, son of Minos and Pasiphae, was thought to have been treacherously killed within the confines of Attica, not only did Minos harass the inhabitants of that country greatly in war, but heaven also laid it waste, for barrenness and pestilence smote it sorely, and its rivers dried up. Also that when their God assured them in his commands that if they appeased Minos and became reconciled to him, the wrath of heaven would abate and there would be an end of their miseries, they sent heralds and made their supplication and entered into an agreement to send him every 9 years a tribute of 7 youths and as many maidens. And the most dramatic version of the story declares that these young men and women, on being brought to Crete, were destroyed by the Minotaur in the labyrinth, or else wandered about at their own will and, being unable to find an exit, perished there. But isn't it more likely that the tributes were taken to Crete to be executed, or imprisoned, to punish the Athenians, and General Taurus was tasked with overseeing all of this, and was known as the Minotaur? Plutarch suggested that the Athenian tributes might have been won by Taurus. Plutarch wrote, Minos instituted funeral games in honor of Androgeos, and as prizes for the victors, gave these Athenian youth, who were in the meantime imprisoned in the labyrinth, and the victor in the first games was the man who had the greatest power at that time under Minos, and was his general, Taurus by name, who was not reasonable and gentle in his disposition, but treated the Athenian youth with arrogance and cruelty. The philosopher Aristotle did not believe that the youths were put to death by Minos and Taurus, but instead they spent the rest of their lives as slaves in Crete. There was also a story about the Cretans having to send an offering of their firstborn to Delphi, and they chose descendants of those Athenian tributes as their sacrifices. Did General Taurus have an affair with Minos' wife Pasiphae? Was their offspring regarded as monstrous because it violated the laws of the gods, and was it kept out of the way, in a specially designed prison, the labyrinth? Was it called the Minotaur because it was the child of Minos' wife and General Taurus? Did the creature foreshadow the man in the iron mask of later ages, he whose true identity must never be revealed? Plutarch wrote, and Demon says also that Taurus, the general of Minos, was killed in a naval battle in the harbor as Theseus was sailing out. But as Philochorus tells the story, Minos was holding the funeral games, and Taurus was expected to conquer all his competitors in them, as he had done before, and was grudged his success. For his disposition made his power hateful, and he was accused of too great intimacy with Pasiphae. Therefore when Theseus asked the privilege of entering the lists, it was granted him by Minos. And since it was the custom in Crete for women to view the games, Ariadne was present, and was smitten with the appearance of Theseus, as well as filled with admiration for his athletic prowess, when he conquered all his opponents. Minos also was delighted with him, especially because he conquered Taurus in wrestling and disgraced him, and therefore gave back the youths to Theseus, besides remitting its tribute to the city. So, did Minos allow Theseus to kill General Taurus, the Minotaur, because he had cuckolded him? Another tale says that the Minotaur was the son of General Taurus and was called Asterius. Because he so closely resembled Taurus, he was named Minotaur. Was he the illegitimate child of Taurus and Minos' wife? Was he required to wear a bull mask to mock him? The labyrinth was located in the basement of Minos' palace, which was said to have an easy entrance, but an almost impossible exit, with endless turns that led nowhere. Minos was renowned in the ancient world as a great, fair and just king, and noted lawgiver. A man called Rhadamanthus was a judge under him, and a guardian of the principles of justice defined by him. Rhadamanthus became king after Minos. Wikipedia says, in Greek mythology, Rhadamanthus was a wise king of Crete. As the son of Zeus and Europa he was considered a demigod. On account of his inflexible integrity he was made one of the judges of the dead in the lower world, together with his half-brother Aeacus and his full brother Minos. He was supposed to judge the souls of Easterners, Aeacus those of Westerners, while Minos had the casting vote. Virgil makes Rhadamanthus one of the judges and punishers of the unworthy in the underworld, Tartarus, section of the Aeneid. Homer represents him as dwelling in the Elysian fields, the paradise for the immortal sons of Zeus. Pindar says that he is the right-hand man of Cronus, now ruling Elysium, and was the sole judge of the dead. Lucian depicts Rhadamanthus as presiding over the company of heroes on the Isles of the Blessed. Could we regard Minos himself as the Minotaur, as a stern judge in the labyrinth of the dead from which there was no escape? He was as unsentimental as a bull when he pronounced his judgments. The bull was associated with gods of the underworld. A tale was later told of Theseus descending into the underworld while still alive. Did he pop in to see Minos wearing his bull mask? Does the tale of the Minotaur have a basis in reality? It seems there's a chance it does.